ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. You either make excuses or you choose to level up. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. Woo! Woo! Brandon Brittingham.
Appreciate you having me here today, man.
It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today.
Jeff and I are like friends. We're real friends.
We are like And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it.
It all comes down to your why. Your business, why are you doing it? How is it going to change the world and what's it going to do for your family?
I want you to celebrate your success.
Talk about the struggle. But I promise you, the story is in your struggle.
They'll never be able to say that about me because people only see me working hard in anything that I'm doing whenever they see me.
Focused on your success and the success of those around you.
But being that constant in your community, good or bad, whether things are great in the community, bad in the community, who's steady?
Unapologetically do business and life on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. Amazing guests living the big ticket life. And we discuss how they do it and the big ticket methods they use. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.
In and of itself, the only limitations that we really have on ourselves is the ones that we allow to be put on ourselves. And most people don't look at it in that perspective.
There's nothing wrong with being humble, but there's also nothing wrong with stepping into your superpower and letting people know who you are.
Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. Welcome back to the show this week, The Big Ticket Life. I love my intro where my friend Brandon says, stepping into your superpower. I know one of the superpowers my guest this week, Fitz Koehler, has is not to be low energy.
Right.
I think this is going to be your midday pump, midday jam session, get you wound up. Fitz Koehler, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So I always ask my guests, one of the things in our workflow as we bring guests onto the show each week is what charities you're connected to. And you listed, so let's jump right in there. You listed the Donna Foundation, American Cancer Society, and any pet rescue, which I just love because I love rescue dogs. We've got 2 of them now. We have 3 rescue cats. What is it that you love about animals?
Everything. They're the thing that gives me peace when the world says I shouldn't be at peace, right? I have 2. My dog Piper, she's 14. Best friend I've ever had. She's pure love, pure commitment, pure loyalty. When I was sick, she never left my side. I don't need much. I need her. So I'll start. That's Joey. That's my little guy. He's 2. He's another rescue. I had been trying to adopt a dog before that, and basically they were all unavailable because of the COVID experience. And then I decided, okay, I'm just going to stop looking and something will show up that needs me. And it was him. So yeah, those animals, when I travel, I visit zoos. They just bring me joy. I have friends who own a farm. I'm there quite frequently. And yeah, I mean, nothing's better than animals to me.
Yeah. Yep. They are very special. I think anybody that's rescued dogs always has a connection to any that they get, but it seems to be that everybody's got that 1 or 2 throughout their life where there's just that specialness that exists. So we've got one of those in our pit bull named Gizmo. Zeus is kind of cool too in that regard. I think more so for my wife, but Gizmo is that special dog for me. So the Donna Foundation, what's that all about?
So it's interesting. So I'm sure we'll discuss it, but at some point in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and I finished treatment midway through 2020. So I did that for a long time, but I host so many races. I'm a race announcer and I host races for so many wonderful causes. And the only cause I didn't host anything for was breast cancer. And so I connected with them, and it just seemed to be the perfect match. And that particular foundation, that organization is so much about love. And while I don't declare myself as the best at anything, nobody loves athletes like I do. And so I turned their start and finish line into a major love fest. And it's just a privilege to be there supporting people who I know damn well exactly what they've been through. And through these races created by Donna Deegan, we raise funds, and then we support men and women going through breast cancer treatment, and then hopefully more effective and kind cures.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like you bring the energy to the races for sure. Costumes, fun.
Whatever it takes, whatever it takes. I will be the court jester if it makes people feel good about themselves. So
Yeah.
it's a privilege.
Yeah. And, I say that if you're not tuning into our show, watching it, you should. You can catch it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. We broadcast every Tuesday at noon, and we give this great element. You get to meet our guests, see them on screen. And my amazing producer, Chris from Cast Ahead, does a great job showcasing the best that our guests have. So yeah, you've shared, you had a battle with breast cancer. I'm guessing you kicked its butt. Is that right?
Sure did. Yep.
Good for
Dead and
you.
gone forever, I've decided.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
And so wrapping up mid 2020, what was that? The title of our show, Control What You Can When You Can. So here you are. You've been battling breast cancer for a few years at that point. Is that right? 2-3 years?
I had 15 months of chemo with the other
Okay.
treatments blended in.
Yeah. So you're nearing this finish line, and then whammo, the door shuts for a few weeks to a couple months. What was that like? You're this close to the finish line.
Yeah, it was infuriating because I decided at the beginning of my treatment, where everyone was saying, stay home and be afraid, you might get germs. I decided my life is not worth living without these people and these events in it. I was fully commitment from the day of diagnosis that cancer might have taken my hair, it might have taken some of my good feelings, and it did. But it was not going to take these incredible events I host, the extraordinary people I serve, or time with my kids. And so I lived up to that, no matter how sick I got. And I was violently ill, and I really struggled through the travel and stuff. But the magic for me was, no matter how sick I was, even if I slept on those hotel bathroom floors, when my alarm went off and I dragged myself over to my stages, every single thing that was wrong with me disappeared once I stepped out of those stages. I wasn't sick. I wasn't tired. I wasn't suffering. There was no more pain. It was just pure joy. And so I lived, I guess, fearlessly during cancer. Cancer is big, scary. And then the fact that they shut the freaking world down for a virus was not okay. Yeah. And it took the good things in my life away. And it was infuriating. And so I'm not unsympathetic for those who really suffer through COVID, but freedom is number one in my book, and they took my freedom, they took my choice. And also the support I had during my treatment. I could no longer go to chemo with a buddy. I could no longer go to chemo and have someone hold my hand while I was being poked with a big old needle through the chest. So yeah, that's the only thing I'll get cranky about, Jeff, is that situation. Well, I wasn't mad about cancer. I was mad that people took my freedom.
Yeah, no, I am right there with you.
Yeah.
Our family, we got into camping the year before in 2019. And so we were actually sans RV at the time, because late in the summer of 19, our neighbor, who's a friend, ran into it in the street. Wow. It was parked on the street after we got back from vacation. He just had a mental lapse and blammo right into it, wipes it out. The blessing was insurance gave us a nice check. It seeded the new one that we got. But yeah, that summer we chose to live.
Yeah.
And, obviously that was a choice that you had in a far, far different context.
Right.
But it was that choices.
And
I thought thinking about our show, I made a post, I commit to post on social media daily. You probably do it multiple times a day.
Too much.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody's got their lane. Everybody's got their reasons. Everybody picks media that they are have an affinity to. But one of the posts I made was, it is as simple as a choice, and you exemplified one of those choices of, if I have to sleep on a hotel floor on the bathroom because I'm just sick, my choice is to be amongst my people.
Yeah.
And what a powerful statement. Why
Worth
don't
it.
you expand on that?
It was worth it every time. It's funny, and I know we'll get there, but the first chapter of the most recent book is this. It's control. This is your healthy cancer comeback, but control. And for me, it's always control what you can when you can. If there's something you really can't control, then let it go. But if you have the ability to control yourself, your actions, your scenario, your surroundings, do it every time.
Yeah, it really can be as simple as that. Why do people overcomplicate that? What do you think's around their decision-making process there?
I think a lot of people have the victim complex. They like to say, I can't help it. It's not my fault. Someone made me. They did this to me. I don't bite off on that. Some people are afraid of hard work. Some people maybe just don't have enough confidence in their own abilities, or the fearlessness it takes to put yourself out there on a limb. But I see no other way than forward. When I want something, I go get something. And that's just the way it works for me. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are the questions we think of, right? I mean, I think everyone has at least one thing in their life that does come easy.
Right.
Like going back to Brandon's comment, stepping into that superpower, right? There's a guy who, and I've seen his transformation. Brandon's a very successful realtor, real estate advisor, investor, has something like 20 companies all connected to real estate, right? Those two words are the hub, and then there's 20 different spokes or so. And here's a guy I've seen in a course of 2 years, really less than 2 years, because it would be November of this year would be the 2-year anniversary. Someone who's petrified to get on a stage and speak publicly.
Okay.
And yet rocks the house. And so his superpower is crossing that line of fear behind the stage to the spotlight. Like, he can just do that. So I think everybody's got that one thing that they can do. So I'll ask it this way. How do you build on that one thing people can do? Because obviously you're not in fitness, you're in Fitzness.
Yeah.
That's your whole thing. And so how do you, let's take on it that way. How do you take that person that you see, they've got this one thing, you can help them get their goals? What do you build on from there?
You know what? It has to come from them. So my understanding of who they are and what they want goes a long way. I've learned if I've been doing this for so long, I've learned that I can't make anybody care about fitness. I can hopefully compel them, but it has to be intrinsic, whether it's weight loss or gaining in strength, so they no longer have pain. So yeah, getting them to choose themselves, to choose health, and then getting them to understand that it's attainable. So for me, Fitzness is making fitness understandable, attainable, and fun. And so it's just steering people towards things they might like. And, when people hit me with excuses, and boy, do they ever, everybody's got some reason. Oh, I can't do it. I can't eat healthy because I have a job, or I have kids, or whatever. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, so perhaps my superpower is being able to poke people in the chest, rattle them, and tell them the truth. And I get to lean in and look at people with a, raised eyebrow and tell them their truth. And I get away with it because they know that I love them. So where if your spouse told you the things that I will tell you, oh, you might be filing for divorce. But when I say it to people, people go, okay, she's right. And she loves me. So that goes a long way. I think my real passion for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Little shift in gears in the conversation. We just had a race on that you were hosting. Looked like it might've been in LA.
I think so. I wasn't watching. Was it a big crowd of people?
Yeah. All in red.
Yeah. That was Wonder Woman at LA Live, where the Lakers play. And I think we had about 10,000 plus people, 99% of them in Wonder Woman gear. What a freaking spectacular day that was. Incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what I get to do. Wouldn't you
Like
get
no.
up and go do that no matter how sick you were?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, no energy comes from that group, right? Like, I'm saying that facetiously, right? Like,
And here's the
you can't
thing is,
help but feel better around those
yeah.
folks.
So I hit them with big joy and big energy because that's how I feel about them. But then they give it back. I get pelted in the face by their joy. And it's extraordinary. It's euphoria for me. It's so good.
Yeah, I would imagine it's almost like performing,
Well,
like
it
being a
is.
musician on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Except with a terrible voice. And on occasion, I've had to sing parts of the anthem just to keep it going, which is god awful for everybody. But yeah, it's performing without any real talent, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's performing with incredible energy, and that transcends and smooths out any of the vocal um, vocal talents that maybe others have more superpowers of. But that's okay. That's not what you're there to do. You're there to lead people.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I don't want to sell myself short. It is a performance. But it's, sometimes I think of a performance as you're speaking at people or performing for them. And my job is to connect to them. Right. So I feel like when I'm on the stage, I feel like we're sitting at the kitchen table, me and these 20,000 other people. I just feel like we're there doing it together. And even if you're in the way back of the pack and I are wrapped around Dodger Stadium at the LA Marathon, there's over 10,000 people I cannot see when I'm standing at the start line stage, but I feel them and I hope they're laughing with us. It's a
Yeah,
great experience.
yeah, yeah. By the way, where do you call home?
Gainesville, Florida, where we do this.
Gainesville.
Go
Okay,
Gators.
gotcha, gotcha. Very good. That's a nice place to live the last few years when it comes down to freedom and choices of things.
Absolutely. I'm born and raised in Florida. There's only like 7 of us who are actually born and raised in the state where I moved them. Everyone
Yeah,
else is from somewhere else.
keep Florida, Florida, right?
Yeah. And it's just, it works for me. It makes me very
Yeah.
happy. I'm very grateful to be here. It's a gift.
Yeah. No, I mean that you just touched on something right there. It makes me happy. People often get rooted down needlessly. We don't have roots under our feet. We can move.
Right.
My wife and I are actually our anniversary's coming up in August, but because our youngest son has football and he's making a run at playing college football, specifically Division I.
Nice.
That's the goal, and we're gonna work and support that and make that happen. So our anniversary trip is to West Virginia, of all places, because we'd love to own a campground or 2 or more, and we want to start there.
Well, Mountaineers, is that what he's looking at?
Well, that would be a D1 school. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I just like that area from a personal standpoint. Limited government. You can
Okay.
you can kind of build on your own property the way you want without a lot of
Nice.
headaches. I'm going through that right now at our store here in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We were doing a simple awning project. It was to be a small project that's turned into a big project that hopefully is going to be a small project. Became a big project as it related to permitting and all that nonsense. But anyway, I digress. To the point of having roots, like you can choose to be happy.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, for
and that,
sure.
yeah, for us, that happiness is, creating memories around family camping. Because for both my wife and I, there's a lot there.
I
And we
love
want to
that.
give that to other people. So that's the start of that journey in a few weeks.
And you'll actually build your own campground?
We want to own it. Yep,
Oh,
we want
great.
to own it, have somebody run it, kind of create a Disney-like experience for camping. And I think where a lot of campgrounds miss is they don't work to bring in the local community that surrounds them.
It's
So I think there's a
interesting.
blending there.
Here in the Gainesville area, so we're surrounded by all these very rural counties, but locals are always camping locally. So I'm in Gainesville, but High Springs has great campgrounds and Lake White. And it's just, yeah, we do camp locally around here and it's lovely. It's the part of Florida that nobody thinks of. They think of the beaches, which there are plenty and they're incredible. And they think of Disney World. But then
That's
the
my things of Disney.
central part of the state is green. It's the forest and there's springs and rivers and it's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. So yeah, I was born in the right spot. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Yeah, yeah, I have the same thoughts on Disney. It's like happiest place on earth. Let's see, you line up hours on time where you can pay it used to be $600 for whatever the quick pass was with the guide. I think it's now topped 1,800 or 2,200
Wow.
bucks. But still, you're hot. It's humid. It rains at 3 o'clock every day,
And you know
and
what?
it's the happiest place on earth. They've
Yeah,
done a
there's
good
a lot
job.
of great to it. My kids are older now, so now I'm like, "Ah, I don't have to do that much." But
Right.
there's definitely some good to it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wrote these books,
Yeah.
obviously inspired by your journey and your battle, which again, you kicked its butt.
Kicks my butt too.
Congratulations.
There was a
Yeah.
lot of mutual blow by blow, uh, you know, situations, but yeah, I thankfully I'm cancer free.
Yeah. So what made you want to start the book writing journey? I've done it a handful of times for more niche and specific reasons.
Yeah.
But what was the calling? What made you feel drawn to doing that?
So I had published one book previously, but when I went through cancer, at the start I was I didn't want to have to tell anybody I had it. I'm a person who believes
Mm,
medical things should be kept personal. But I knew I was going to go bald and I was going to end up on stages and people were going to ask. So I was almost kind of bullied into making this weird video announcing, telling my little world that, hey, this is what's going on with me. And I told him, I said, listen, you cannot have pity for me. You can root for me. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to look a little weird, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to perform as expected and nothing will change. And boy, did they show up and root for me. I'm surrounded by the greatest people on earth. But soon to follow that, what I decided once things started hitting the fan physically is I wasn't going to share all the hardships because my job, my role with Fitzness is to be a beacon of health and happiness, not of pain and suffering. And I was doing so much pain and suffering, and things were going so wildly wrong that I wasn't telling the truth. I would just show up with a smile, and people could make their assumption when they said, "How are you?" I'd say, "Great," no matter what. But as things progressed, some of my side effects were so weird. Like it wasn't just hard and scary; it was weird and hilarious. It just got so strange. I'm looking at pictures of myself, thinking, "Oh, it's so weird that it was me." But the bizarre stuff happened. Like right before a race one morning, I woke up and my eyes had changed colors. My eyes changed.
wow.
I know. Nobody told me that could happen. And so there was a whole
That
bunch of stuff like that. And I thought, well, people will get a good kick out of this. I'm not telling them. I didn't get on social and be like, hey guys, guess what? My eyes changed colors today. But it happened. And so eventually I started to think, gosh, I should tell them about the funny stuff. And I didn't know how I was going to tell that. And then eventually I started realizing that I had made some really good decisions for myself with not only the mental fortitude, perspective, and pursuing these passions. And they worked miracles for me. And then, of course, my commitment to fitness was making an extraordinary difference. And that's when I thought, okay, now I'm responsible. Now I'm obligated to share. They need to know this because I'm certainly not
mm,
the only person going to do cancer. So that's how this one was born, My Noisy Cancer Comeback. So that's the memoir, and that's done really well. And then this one, Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, this was born when I hit rock bottom. So I was halfway through chemo, and my chemo was vicious. I had it for a long time, and it was mean. And then it was after my surgery, and I had lost so much weight. I was a skeleton. And it was at that point where my mom had just said something to the effect of, you need to eat. You look like you're in the Holocaust. And I thought, oh, thanks, Mom. I know. But, so I went to the gym one day after surgery. I was just like able to start doing stuff after my surgeon allowed me to. And I get to the gym and I sit down on a machine and I put in the weight I used to lift. I put the pin in and I push and nothing happens. And I drop the pin and I drop the pin. And eventually I had to drop that pin 80%. I could only lift 20% of what I had previously lifted. So not only did I look the part, but now my abilities had been severely diminished. And, when I was sitting there, I thought, oh, this is the point where I'm supposed to get up and run. I'll leave the gym in tears and go home and hide. But then I thought, well, I know how to rebuild my body, right? Yay for me. I'm a fitness expert. I knew
right.
exactly how to take baby steps and powerful steps and get back to not only healthy, but fit and athletic. And I did. But at that same point where I was feeling very confident, I started having these incredible pains for my peers, the millions of cancer patients around the world who are obliterated by their disease or their treatment, and they have no idea how to rebuild their body, how to get back to their point B. Because, I was skinny skeleton. Some people gain a whole bunch of weight. Some people lose limbs, and some people lose mobility and balance and all of these things. And so then I decided, okay, I have to help. And because I'm a fitness expert who has, keen insight for the cancer experience, I had to write the guidebook, and nobody else had written it, which is weird, but nobody did. And then now there's a companion journal too to help people through it. So these books were born because I had to write them, and they apparently are helping people. I have thousands of cancer patients and survivors that have reached out to say that they've benefited them. So I feel really grateful about that.
Yeah, that's just fantastic. So in writing the books, you said you felt, I don't know that you said called, even though it was just a minute ago. But was that a feeling? Compelled.
Yeah.
What was that, like a feeling? Was that something you heard? We can go down this road if you want. We don't have to. Was there like a faith aspect of that?
No. You know what? I'm pragmatic.
Mhm.
I'm a pragmatist, and some things I just find a hole. You find a hole, you want to fill it type thing. And I just, this is who I am. This is who I am. So I just thought I have to help. I have to get this information out. And it's funny, I've written thousands of articles, but sometimes I don't write for a month just because I have nothing unique to say. And I'm very committed to not writing unless there's something relevant
Mm,
that I need to get out, or not doing a podcast. I have a podcast. I only do it when I want to, right? I'm
right.
on nobody else's schedule, and I don't just come up and yammer. I only speak when I have something to say. And when it came to, the memoir and the guidebook, I had to say these things because I had to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I love that approach too. I mean,
Yeah.
you felt compelled because you saw the need.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the quote, if not me, then who? Right.
Right, right. Well, it's funny. I looked on Amazon and there was nothing. There's nothing on fitness, exercise. There's nothing relevant. There's a book that's pretty crappy. It's 20 years old. It's written by a nurse. Bless her heart. She's not a fitness expert. What does she know, right? And the book is pretty weak. And again, I'm not going to call her out, but that was all
Right.
that was there. It was like, how come this doesn't exist? Because every oncologist is telling their patient, studies show, this is proof, exercise and nutrition will both make you more likely to reach remission, less likely to have a recurrence. There's so much evidence to show that exercise, nutrition, quality rest, complementary care will help you. It's control what you can, right? Yet
Right.
nobody's saying here's exactly how to do it. So I did it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And we have in our show notes, but you have a little 3-pack offer
Yeah.
for these books. So listen, you don't I don't think anybody has to play 6 degrees of separation with cancer,
Nope.
unfortunately.
No.
It used to be that way, but not so much.
Yeah.
Um,
And I had breast cancer, but these books suit, whether you have colon cancer, brain cancer, leukemia,
mhm,
they're relevant for everybody. And what I hope, Jeff, is that 0% of your viewers and listeners have cancer. I hope none of them
right.
have it. However, I believe 100% of them love someone with cancer or
Mhm,
someone who recently went through it. And when someone we care about gets diagnosed, we instantly think, oh, I wish we could help. What do we do? Are we going to send another blanket, another hat? Or are you going to give them actual control and power and knowledge to control the things they can to avoid
yep.
that muscle atrophy and the loss of balance and the weakness and so forth? So yeah, let's get it on. Let's help these people. That's what these books are there for.
Love it. Love it. Well, we've got that in our show notes. And
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, if I would hope you watching, listening, that you aren't afflicted with cancer, that you do not have it. If you do, get it. If you know somebody that does, which likely you do, get that for them. It's real easy. I think the link's right in the show notes. You can click it. Um, so I have another question I want to ask you, but I'm going to ask you this one first. See if you've heard of this. So I've got friends They're rubbing off on me as far as fitness goes.
Okay, good.
I've been making better choices as of late, down 12 pounds. And
Congratulations. Fantastic.
yes, thank you. And it is that choice. I'm not going crazy, signing up for a gym membership and switching to like a liquid diet 2 times a day and a piece of fish and salad. I'm just doing better choices and stacking. And but one of my friends, Adam, he's one of these fitness nuts, and he'll go on a 5-day fast. And this is not meant to have you endorse that. I'm merely sharing it for the nutrition aspect. He does it because he has a lot of cancer in his family. He's also kind of a nerd, self-described nerd, who reads a lot about cancer and has found papers that when you remove what's in your body that far, your body begins to take away so, some things in the body that can lead to some cancers. And so he does it for the mental challenge. He does it for the physical challenge. And he does it because it makes him feel better about his future station in life. Have you ever heard anything like that?
So I have done a god awful amount of research, especially, I have all the credentials, right? I have the master's degree in exercise and sports sciences and a lifetime of commitment to learning on the subject. But when it comes to these books, I did a lot of learning. I never heard anything like that. And the problem with stuff like that is it's radical and it sets people up for suffering and failure. And I've seen zero evidence that starving yourself for 5 days will prevent cancer from coming. It's like the people who do the juice fast. That's absurd.
Right.
Eat lots of fruits and veggies, drink lots of water on a regular basis. You don't have to go get a colonic, and you just eat lots of fiber, drink lots of water, and your body will do what it's supposed to do. So I love your friend Adam. I wish him well. I hope he encourages zero other people to follow his path, because I would not. If I had one of my people come to me and say they were going to do that, I would give them that poke in the chest and shake, rattle.
You give them that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, they would not be encouraged by me. That's for sure.
Well, again, I heard it, I listened to it. I'm like, well, if not for anything, you're going to mentally test yourself in a way that
what's the benefit? Our bodies are designed to consume food. We've got pointy teeth. We've got this killer digestive system. We're not supposed to deprive it. We're supposed to nourish it. We're supposed to say, okay, here's food that makes you go. Here's food that makes you work better. Here's liquid. Our bodies are like such a huge percentage water. So water is really important. So any day where someone says, you can't have broccoli today, we go, what? Really? You can't have strawberries. Why? What is that all about? I mean, unless you've got an allergy to broccoli or strawberries, or you've got diverticulitis, you should be eating food every day. This is the thing that makes us go. So these radical diets and pills and powders they're all snake oil. They're all nonsense. If I could travel the country and pop everybody in the face who promotes them, I would happily do so, because it's unfair and unethical to take advantage of the consumer who wants nothing more than to feel good about themselves and have some health in their life. So yeah, I'm radical in defense of the everyday person who deserves better. You don't have to fast. You sleep at night. That's our fast, right? We wake up and we fuel up. So fitness is not so complicated.
Yeah. One of those choices I made was to stop eating at 7:00. Nothing after 7.
And that works for you.
And that works for me.
12 pounds. That's great. Yeah.
It does well. And that's not the only one, but that's one of them. So I had this question written down. I'll ask it now. So what is the difference between fitness and fitzness?
Oh, fitzness is well, it's a malarkey free, right? It's free of diets, pills, powders, all the other nonsense our fitness trainers are pushing. And man, there's a lot of good people in this industry, but there's some people that are hawking the nasty stuff just to make a buck, and I don't approve that. So fitzness is real deal, truthful, studied fitness, which again is not so complicated. And ideally, it's fun. People say, well, Fitz, you're in the running industry. I hate to run. Okay, I don't care if you hate to run, go swim. go do karate, get on a bike, whatever, do what you like to do. The purpose of Fitzness is to get you to make fitness understandable, attainable, and fun, right? The things you need to focus on are strength, cardio, flexibility, and balance. Those are the 4 pillars of fitness. You do them in whatever mode you seem fit, whatever entertains you, inspires you, keeps you going. Those are the 4 pillars of fitness. When it comes to food, you should have more foods that help versus foods that hurt, and you should eat a limited amount. That's called the exact formula. Most people use it as the exact formula for weight loss. It's on the cover of fitzness.com, and it'll just teach you how to eat the right amount of the right foods for the size you want to be. So it's gimmick free. It's gimmick free fitness, and that's it. I'm out to help people live better and longer. If you want to look a certain way, or in your jeans or in your swimsuit, I can help you with that. But that's not my concern. I'm concerned about you living well and living long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on the topic of choices, it is really fitness and Fitzness is about less in, more output, right?
Well, for some people it's less. If you're consuming too many calories, you can never exercise those off, which is why when I announce let's say a full marathon with 10,000 people, probably 8,000 of those athletes could lose 20 or more pounds. So you really can't exercise off reckless eating. And reckless eating doesn't mean you're just shoving down Cheetos all day. Sometimes reckless eating could be too much of a good thing, right? You're just having more than your body requires. And so it grows, it expands. And so, yeah, it's just about helping people figure out those details. And the details are pretty easy to figure out. So that's why I provide tons of free resources at fitzness.com, just because there's too much misinformation out there.
Right. Right. And I suppose I said that through my lens, right? Because I am that poor eater.
Yeah.
And I know the secret. It's more activity, less eating.
Well, or smarter eating. Yes. Eating,
Right.
you can actually, if you're eating low calorie, high nutrition foods, you can eat a lot of food. Sometimes I've had my mother look at me and say, you eat a god awful amount of food for a little person. I say, yep, I do. I just eat really good stuff so I can shovel it in.
Yeah. What are a few of those good things that you eat, just out of curiosity?
Oh, that I eat? Well, I'm real nerdy, but I'm addicted to citrus. I love oranges and tangerines and strawberries. I love fruit in general. I'm a real nerd when it comes to vegetables. Not most of my meal, that's an exaggeration, but I love to just bring out a nonstick pan and throw in cut up tomatoes and broccoli and squash and season it. And that's dinner. And it feels good. Oh, I also eat French fries. I do like French fries. Those are my sometimes foods.
Yeah, French fries are tasty. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good we got pointy teeth to eat them too. I love that. You
That's
said that.
very
I'm like, pointy teeth are great for cheeseburgers.
Yes, on occasion. Just on occasion, though.
Yeah,
Oh, look
yeah.
at Tim Patton saying hello. That's one of my favorite runners right there. He's a
Oh, awesome.
police
Tim,
sergeant,
thanks for tuning in.
police sergeant from Cleveland, Ohio. We love him.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I've got a dear friend that lives in the Cleveland area. Actually, a couple of them. Kevin McFarland, man. How are you? Kevin, somebody I coach football with.
Oh,
Great man, giving back to his community, leading kids in Reading City, and in the towns that we live in. Kevin, good to see you, my friend. We needed to definitely connect for sure.
he's got a beautiful smile.
That's right. He's got a little boy, baby Mac, who's not such a baby anymore. He's growing up. Fine young man. That was cool. It's cool. And Greg Weber's tuning in now too. We're getting all the comments, which is awesome. It's fun about
Greg's
doing
my
the show.
Buffalo race director and a BFF. I love you, Greg. Hi. There you
Very
go.
cool.
Here they come,
Very
Jeff.
cool. I know, right? We just had to get kind of rolling and get working through. So let's talk about the controlling what you can when you can. I mean, again, through your cancer journey, there had to be a lot of times you kind of felt like you just didn't have that control. You had to listen to this doctor. You had to go schedule this test. Oh, wait, we have to do this one first. Oh, well, they didn't send over the report. Am I kind of dialing into that emotion of that time?
Yeah, my life went on spin cycle. It's incredible what happens when you get that diagnosis. I went from just this like athlete, busy professional, living my best life to in doctor's appointments for hours every day, and then doing things that scared me all the time. And my attitude has always been control what you can. When there's things that I can't control, I don't give them any of my energy. See too many people worried about what this person thinks of them. Well, I can't control what you think of me, and it's none of my business anyway. So I'm really good at letting certain things go. But with cancer, boy, is that a scary time. Don't you think, Jeff? It's very
Mhm.
scary. Yeah. So
There's
I had,
been sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that's okay. I was just going to say I had to control this, right? So I had to do all of this stuff. I'm a medical wimp. I'm afraid of needles. I'm pretty sure they poked me about 6 million times over those
Mhm.
15 months at least. I'm claustrophobic. So there was a couple of MRIs that led to 5-star freakouts on my behalf. But I had to do them, right? So what can you control if you're forced into a little tiny tube to suffocate for 45 minutes? The only thing I control was the voice in my head, and she is a very powerful weapon. I see too many people using that voice in their head to put themselves down and berate
Mhm.
themselves and hold themselves back. And man, that girl in there, she's pretty cool. She was like, "You can do this. You've got this. You can do hard things." And she helped me along, and that was control. And then of course, exercise. I could have just lied there and felt sorry for myself. And there was a lot of lying there. I never felt sorry for myself. But when I could get up, I got up. And that really prevented a even more radical decline, which I'm so grateful for. I'm not sure I would have survived it without the exercise and nutrition component. And I'm
Mm.
really not sure I would have survived it all without my kids and my career. My athletes around the country, they did so much to keep me going. It's just breathtaking. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost seems as though everything prior to your diagnosis was leading up to it,
Yeah.
to have that like strength put in the toolbox so you had the right tools.
Yeah. And I had built up all this wonderful stuff to live for, right? So the kids, for me, they were my motivation in so many regards. I just wasn't going to leave them. And then my career, it just kept me going, because if I didn't have those distractions or those wonderful things to focus on, all I would have been was sick. Right? There's so many people who say,
Mm.
"Oh, if I had cancer, I would quit on the spot. I'd be home." Like, all right, and then at your home, what are you going to do if you have treatment like I for a year and a half? You're just going to be home?
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
uplifting. No offense to your home, but got to get out. You got to have people and things to look forward to. Really, really benefited me. I'm so fortunate. I'll say it again. I'm so fortunate. And I
Yeah.
made great choices.
Love that. Love that. That you say, is that like one of your daily habits? You say, I'm so fortunate.
I just think I feel it. It's not a habit, but yeah, I am so grateful. And I give out a lot of hugs at finish line. So my co-announcer, Rudy Novotny, is one of my best friends. I think he's the best announcer in the world. He credits me for being the same. But he said today, you've reinvented race announcing. You just do it differently. You've added all these elements. And really some of the elements that I've added on is my obsession, obsession with our athletes. So I can't keep my hands off them. Like, there we go. I'm like always down on the ground. A lot of announcers, they just sit on a stage behind a table and they read names and say good job, and that's fine. But me, I just have to get down, and I want to hug them and tell them I love them and tell them how great they did. And thankfully they're not creeped out by me usually. Like maybe there's once in a while someone's like, "No, lady, don't hug me, don't hold my hand." But
Yeah.
this is what you see there. As they make me so happy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a habit that I say I'm so fortunate, but every time I look at them or they reach out and say hello, I think, oh, what a blessing.
Yeah. Well, in the pre-show, so you have your companion journal to,
Yeah.
and sorry, I'm going to botch the title. The
Healthy
companion journal to
Cancer
one of your
Comeback
books.
Journal.
Yeah. If I just look at the screen, it's actually in view for me to not
Okay.
botch it. You have your journal, the Healthy
Yep.
Cancer Comeback Journal. You know, on that topic of, you know, positivity, the topic of creating a habit, the thing that surprised me in our coaching group, I shared in the pre-show, we wrote a journal. One of the things that I do in there that I always carved out for myself, because I realized I was going through life at times just not practicing happiness. And a lot of people do that. And I've had people report back simply the action of checking 3 boxes off, reading 3 affirmations focused on happiness a day has done wonders for them.
So, do you know
And
what? I'm so sorry. You finish.
no, go ahead.
Do you know what strawberry moments are?
No.
Okay, so strawberry moments are these things. My kids both went to this local summer camp out in the woods. You'd love it, sleepaway camp, and it's called Camp Crystal. And at the end of each day, and in the cabin, like the girls' cabin or the boys' cabin, they would go around the room, and each kid would share their strawberry moment of the day. And so for a camper, that strawberry moment is something camp related. We won the canoe race, or I sang a song, or I made a new friend. Well, I took that because I think it's so valuable. And so in my books and then in the journal, you know, there's in the back with the daily fitness log, there's a requirement to list your strawberry moments of the day, because even with cancer, something wonderful happened to you. So maybe it was a sweet new nurse, or maybe you got great news, but maybe even if you got bad news, an old friend reached out and you got to connect, and you know, there's something wonderful happened. So
Yep.
much like your happy habits, you know, strawberry moments, even with cancer, something great is happening. And, you know, I hope that even if my treatment hadn't gone my way, like even if I were not going to survive, right? If that doctor had that conversation, says, Fitz, there's nothing else we can do. I hope every single day moving forward, I would have connected with someone I love, or chosen to see the bright side of each day, each moment, each hour. I would have, when we talk about control, I would have made sure my passing was, you know, the way I wanted it, the place I wanted to be, with the people. You know, maybe I'd have some Garth Brooks playing in the back because he makes me happy. And then I'd plan out my funeral in advance. You know, it's control and joy. And I'm committed to joy no matter what.
That's life. Big ticket life and business on your terms. That's it right there in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life
And
on your terms, whether you're here or not.
yeah. And when it comes to business, if it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
Just not.
Yeah. Good for you. And that, I think so many people lose sight of that.
Oh,
Yep. Oh, there's Rudy.
thanks, Rudy.
You guys are sharing a strawberry moment together right here on the show,
Right.
in real time.
The best bestie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think as we look to kind of wrap up our time together, and I've had so much fun having you on the show. You know, let's talk about that in business, about doing what makes you happy, because it can, you know, you get a lot of noise, you know, your peers, your industry, maybe your employees, your spouse, whoever. Well, you have to do it this way. You have to do this. So you got to take the good customers with the bad customers. And I think you and I are very much aligned in that. No, we what we should be doing are the things that serve our purpose always, and removing ourselves from that noise of negativity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you, I mean, you know, in the Fitzness industry, you get those excuses. So how do you, I think probably those excuses are the biggest chunk of noise you deal with. How do you stay happy in that?
You know, I'm always happy to help people, and telling them the truth doesn't ever hurt my feelings, right? So I am okay with that. Now, if I could snap my fingers and have more people take their health seriously, and commit to exercise, and be willing to make, you know, choose a salad at McDonald's versus a burger at McDonald's, because you could still go to McDonald's and find something healthy. Boy, would I snap my fingers and do that. It comes to choices, right? So when you're younger in your career, when you're newer, maybe you have to do things that you're not being paid a fair wage, but you're getting experience, right? Maybe you have to work with people you're not thrilled about. The goal is when you go from a job to a profession or a career, And there's a big difference between having a profession and a job. When you're in a job, you're doing the things you work, doing what you want, with whom you want, when you want, where you want, for the amount you want. And I lecture to universities, and I give,
Mm.
it's called create a career 101, but that's the goal. Who, where, what, when, how much, So now I work with wonderful people. It's funny, on the fitness side of things, I have to do a lot of arm twisting, trying to convince people that exercise is a good idea. Please exercise. In the race industry, a race director, who's usually this wonderful guy or gal, they say, Fitz, we think you're fun. We want to have you. We're going to treat you right. And we know you're going to treat us right. And then they say, Fitz, here's 20,000 people who think exercise is a great idea. Make sure they have a good time. So I show up in the greatest circumstances possible. And I'm happy to do the work that I do. I'm willing to say no now. So maybe 20 years ago, I said, okay, if somebody can't meet my rate, I say sorry, but no. And that's actually a big deal for women. I believe we have hit equal rights. We're there. Women, you got to start sticking up for yourself. You got to start demanding more. You got to know your value and insist upon it. It's not anybody else's responsibility but your own to acknowledge your worth and meet you there. And I just, right now it's all good. And if there's a situation I'm invited to participate in and I don't believe it's a good one, I will say no, thank you.
Good for you. Good for you. I should have told you, I forgot in our pre-show, we had a good little energetic pre-show. I make some notes throughout our time together to carve out great moments, great timestamps. So we get these little nuggets of our time to share with others. So we amplify and we share out those strawberry moments that we created in our 50 some minutes together. So that's what I was just doing right there. You got one more in as we look to wrap up. I've had a lot of fun today. I really appreciate your energy for sure. I knew we'd have a good show. I knew we'd give something to our watchers and to our listeners to take away. And, that really is, you are in control, and those choices can be made. You hit the nail on the head about the McDonald's example, because for years I was a road rep, and McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King were the stops because they were on the road, and I could squeeze that in between stop, 6 and 7.
Yeah.
But the choice was always there. And, there were days I made better choices to get that salad. The taco salad at Wendy's was my go-to.
Okay.
Not as good as a salad, but a lot better than a double quarter pounder.
Hey, you know what?
I made those choices.
Jeff, here's the other reality we haven't mentioned is perfect is boring. Nobody is expected to be perfect in any regard, with the food they put in their mouth, with their exercise schedule, with their work performance. I mean, there's this thing called human error, and it exists. And I think life would be boring without it. That's actually how I've raised my children. They know perfect is boring. So keep your standards in check and just aim to do your best as much as possible. And if something falls through the cracks on occasion, hopefully nobody gets killed, right?
Yeah. I love it. I think another way to put that, to wrap up, when we think about like a mission to the moon, everybody thinks of it as this straight shot to the moon, right? This line, this arc. And it's really, there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of course corrections along the way.
Yeah.
The goal, the standard is the moon. The goal is what you set. So thanks for helping people set those standards and goals for themselves. And you're there to hold their hand along the way through those course corrections and get them there.
Hey, you know what? I'm all our people, they're the best people. Someone that takes the energy to watch a podcast, to learn how to do better and be better, speaks volumes of who they are. So they just have to, reprogram that person in their head to talk themselves up instead of talk themselves down. Remember that they can do hard things and stay the course, right? Keep going.
Yep. Love it. Fitz, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Appreciate your energy. Fitzness.com is the place to go. Lots of resources there to make good choices about your health. You can't help but feel energized, get your pump up. Check out Fitz's 3-book pack. We've got it in the links. We've been putting it in the comments here on the show. Please, if you know somebody who's been affected by cancer, any cancer, do them a good deed and create a strawberry moment and send them that pack, that 3-pack of books. I'm sure they'll gain a lot of benefit. Fitz, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, team. Bye.
All right. We'll see you next week on The Big Ticket Life. Take care. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of The Big Ticket Life. You've heard from another amazing guest living their own big ticket life, and now it's time to live yours. First, I'd love for you to take me up on my free gift to you. Claim your gift at gift.thebigticketlife.live. That's gift.thebigticketlife.live. See, all your life you've been told what is and what isn't possible by the loudest voices from the cheapest seats. It's time to finally do life and business on your terms. Sure, you've heard similar things, but without clarity on what can be done, it's easy to have your customers, employees, maybe even partners, and your spouse keep you from truly living a big ticket life. My big ticket methods shift you into that investor seat in your business, away from commodity and away from competition, into a market of one, so you can finally live your own big ticket life. So my gift to you is for you to book your discovery call today, where we'll uncover first the Chivo behaviors, those chief everything officer behaviors that hold you back, and why moving into the investor seat in your own business is critical. 2, we'll uncover the premium position that's up for grabs right now in your market that you're missing out on. And 3, which big ticket methodologies are just waiting to be dropped into your business to explode your sales and profits. So again, thanks for listening to this episode. I'd love for you to take action right now. Accept this gift. Book your call. Go to gift.thebigticketlife.live. Again, that's gift.thebigticketlife.live.